I think if you can learn to self-perpetuate your own energy, that will impact your whole team. And if you can set up a team that self-perpetuates growth with or without your input, then obviously you're winning. And help evolve people rather than and help inspire them to do what you want them to do rather than tell them what to do. And I think that begins with harnessing your energy for sure, which gives you more control over yourself, but also impacts everyone you touch.
Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. This is your essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz. I'm your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm really excited today to have a good friend and an amazing entrepreneur with me. Christian Gissing has been in business for 11 years. He built his business from scratch. It's True North Property Management.
That's it.
And it's in Traverse City, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world if you've never been. And Christian is he's got more energy than I think anybody that I know of. Christian, thank you for coming and talking to us.
My pleasure.
So what advice would you give property managers who are looking to grow their company?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, one of the interesting things about us is we're actually in 4 different countries. So Traverse City is our base where we started, but now we're in multiple different states. We're in Jamaica. We're onboarding like 800 units in Jamaica right now. We're in the UK. We're in Bali, a little bit of Mexico. So I think relative to that, advice that I would give property managers, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you said energy, right? I think certainly if you can learn to self-perpetuate your own energy, that will impact your whole team. And if you can set up a team that self-perpetuates growth with or without your input, then obviously you're winning. So I would ask that question, how can you do that? And I would say that one way you can do that is it all begins and ends with you at the start if you're at the top. And to move from being a manager to a leader, as opposed to, rather than being the boss, be the leader and be the example and help evolve people rather than and help inspire them to do what you want them to do rather than tell them what to do. And I think that begins with harnessing your energy for sure, which gives you more control over yourself, but also impacts everyone you touch. The first hour of your day, make that a space where you go through a process create a system for creating the energy that you want to have throughout the day. So that's a big back step from traditional property management advice, but I'm big on leadership, and I think that that's been that alone has been what everything else has stemmed from. So beyond that, I would say failed my way to success on every level. Like obviously breaking into different markets and different countries is as hard as it might sound, right? But until you take the steps and just throw yourself at it, like with anything in life, you won't figure it out. So you just have to keep doing it, but just decide, I'm going to figure it out, and then just keep going until you figure it out. And then think, okay, how can I do this effectively and simply without it being, a lot of extra work, and then just being relentless with it until you get there.
How did you decide to expand in those areas? What happened that you go, this is an opportunity? Were you vacationing there? Was this something intentional? You're like, I want a place here. I want some here. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I originally, my dream with this business model was to kind of pop up in places, do business where I loved going, right? I wanted to create a life I didn't need a vacation from. And that's kind of how it started. But also I went into this deciding I want to have something like a franchise model without necessarily it being a franchise. I don't know if it would be a franchise or what it was, but something similar. And I wanted to be able to spread it globally, but also more importantly, I wanted to be able to help my closest friends in my life leverage whatever platform I built to build a life that gave them freedom financially, time, and all the things that they wanted. And that inspired me to build this branch manager program, which essentially allows other people in other markets to leverage all our back-end tools, systems, human resources, and everything, kind of like a franchise, but even more extensive. And then they just focus on managing the boots on the ground and the owner acquisition and owner relations and nurturing. And through, again, trial and error, I did it with my best friends. I've helped some of them create amazing lives themselves through this, and that was the the biggest part of this, which was incredibly rewarding. But then I was like, okay, now it's worked for them. There's actually something here that I could take, I could scale. But again, failed my way through success. I tried all different types of people. I thought I wanted to design something that anyone could take and use and build with, but that was probably a little bit too ambitious because there's certain people that just aren't made to be entrepreneurs, right?
No, that's true. 100%.
Yeah. And certain people that just haven't got what it takes. But it doesn't mean they can't, but they have to want it for themselves, and not everyone does, like the way you want it for them. So narrowed down a specific type of person that I knew would flourish in any market. And then we started going after, through interactions and sharing what we do. If someone felt like an absolute fit and we knew they fit the criterion that they were geared for success, then we'll partner with them. And it's not necessarily just geared towards where I want to go, but everywhere we've grown so far is somewhere I would want to go. So
that's really awesome. I love that. Build a life you don't need a vacation from.
That's right, baby.
That's so funny. I said to my husband last week, I actually said to him, we don't really need a vacation. I really feel like every day's a vacation.
That's what's up. Let's go.
So, I didn't think about it at the time until you said that. And then it dawned on me, wow, that's exactly what I said. So I agree. I think that's really important. It's hard work. Building a business is not easy.
Right.
Scaling a business is not easy. But there's a lot of joy that comes from the work that we have.
100%. You have to dig for it and find it sometimes, but there is. Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes you're like, don't ever do this, guys? This is something I would say don't do. What would that be?
It's difficult for me to say because I feel like everything I've done has led me to now, and I find lessons in every struggle or failure, quite frankly. But if I could say that some of the things that really held me back, if I had acted sooner, would have made a big difference. One is get clear on your culture and your standards within your business. And, if people step outside of that a couple of times, they should go. At the end of the day, I think I've tried to nurture people that were never going to change, and they just kept on overstepping clear core values or just things as simple as integrity, right? And you got to be quick with getting rid of people because they can completely hold you back. They can hold the entire team back. And if someone else on the team sees you allowing that, they think it's okay. It's just has all kinds of negative implications. So I think that one for sure. I definitely shoved in myself. No, I wouldn't say that, but definitely created way more issues for myself and halted standard growth and quality at times in the past because I didn't learn that soon enough.
That is such business wisdom. Once you learn it, you get it.
Yeah.
I think we have, especially being in hospitality, we have a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, we care about our guests and we care about the people that work for us. We're just that type of person if you're going to be successful in this business.
Yeah.
But there is a place where you go, the advice that I was always given at the beginning was hire slowly, fire quickly. But it takes that to start with before you actually get it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, because I had the same advice, but I was like, but my heart was like, but not quite there yet. But now it's just like, wow, this just makes complete and utter sense. Another thing I would say is build a business to exit, whether you're going to exit or not, because it just makes you build a better business. Teaches you to slowly start to fire yourself and get out of your own way as well. Because so often as founders, we'll think that we need to we're the best at all the key components at the top, but often, you could bring someone in that's better than you at most levels, or at least do 80% of what you could do. And ultimately, the more that you can focus on the vision and the leadership, the better, the more the business has potential. I think it's really easy for us to not put people in place and like better people than us in certain places and pay the money that costs because A, we are thinking too much about margins, but again, that's limited thinking. And B, a lot of us have control issues or egos And I think that we're just in our own way in that sense. And I think once you step out of that and start to focus more on firing yourself for the business and looking at it from a step back and thinking, okay, how can I nurture what this is without me being stuck in it all the time? You can have a much greater impact.
Oh, 100%. I love
And
that.
also, if you do want to sell it, then it's more sellable.
And that's true too. But I love the fact that you said that, build it like you're going to have someone else acquire it. That's a different mindset, guys. And the reason for that is because, just like you said, then in a moment, if you decide to do something else or say something happened to you, you've got a business that is sellable.
Yeah.
And not all are.
Right.
This episode of the Vacation Rental Show is sponsored by RevMax, the premier full-service revenue management system. Built for vacation rental managers who are looking for a market edge, RevMax offers data-driven tools and services that will increase revenue and drive more profit. Connect with their revenue management experts at getrevmax.com and discover their full-service revenue management solution. You'll be glad you did.
We were just talking earlier about stakeholders.
That's right.
And tell us, if you guys don't know what Stakeholders is, it's a really cool company that's being put together that is rolling up property management companies in one. And they're actually selling them to M&A. Like big M&A won't buy a $4 million company, but they will buy a $140 million company. So putting together those groups that allow property managers to not just sell their company, but to invest in a bigger thing than themselves. And then hopefully in, year and a half, do it again, roll it over. And, it's the same kind of business model as Inhabit when I sold my company. It's a great business model. But that type of thing, it comes along, that doesn't come along every day.
No.
And I had one company that I talked to about it. And the reason I want to say this is because I think as property managers, we should think about exactly what Christian said. I think it's really important that we look at positioning our company to sell, because this company, when we went to do the EBITDA for them, they'd never considered selling their company, number one, second generation. And they were making $350,000 that they were pulling out of their company. That's fine, well and good. There was plenty of money there. But they were loath to put $250,000 of it back for the EBITDA, not understanding that that's a 7X on that. So I think that if someone had told them 2 years ago, think about selling your company, even if you never planned to, running it that way and creating people and processes in place so that you could step away.
Exactly. I think it buys back your time, but also, like you said, you have to build out SOPs. You have to have the right people in place. You have to, you start focusing more on your margins. You start focusing on consolidating tech stacks and stuff like that. It just builds a better business, quite simply, if nothing else.
100% it does.
Yeah.
It does. And I think that...
And you don't, whether you exit or not, but just to have that in mind. And then at least you have the option too.
You also have the option to grow doing that.
100%.
Because if you have someone else that's running the company and you're managing it, then you can do like what you've done and expand in all kinds of other markets. I didn't know you were doing that. I'm so impressed. That's great. That has to be, tell me the most difficult challenge for doing something out of the country.
I would say it's learning labor force, but honestly, we partner with someone locally that understands that for that particular reason. Probably the biggest thing is figuring out the tax. And again, I've got someone on my team that's amazing that just does it. They figure it out, they implement it, they do it. So, originally before that person was in place, figuring that stuff out was pretty difficult. And it was one of those things that a lot of people look at and be like, F that. Because it just dealing with different tax laws in different states is one thing, but then looking at all the laws and taxation in different countries and having to pile that on, and then figuring out how to pay owners and staff and stuff like that, vendors in different countries, you can easily look at it and be like, but it's not that complex. And once you figure it out, you figured it out.
It's not insurmountable.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Beyond that. Yeah, I'd say that was probably the trickiest part of it, those two things, but we figured it out.
The workforce and the taxation.
Yeah.
I have friends who do, multiple countries. who have property management companies. And I often think, how large can you grow? Does it stunt your growth to go, or does it help build your growth to branch out like that?
It's all relative, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're focused on one market and there's a lot of growth potential there, sometimes you might say, well, why shift outside of that? The reality is like, I mean, we thought that way, but the way we've done it is where we have a market manager that is completely responsible for that market. It's on them to grow it. So it doesn't take anything away from the core business or core team to continue growing where they're at, so.
That's fabulous.
It's all relative.
Is there any other advice you'd give to property managers?
I would say that, like with any business, make it bigger than you and you'll have a lot more fun, Like make it, like for me, I love helping my team grow individually and helping transform their lives and make their lives better and better and better. And honestly, that's what makes me absolutely love being in business, way more than the cash flow or the money or anything like that, because I'm changing lives. And, the more impact I have on their lives, the more impact that has on the lives around them. And, it's just kind of like elevated my vision for what I want to do with the impact I want to have from, or can have from, business or in my life. The more I do that, and it just it gives you a sense of fulfillment that, we all seek, whether we know it or not. And it just, it makes it easier to love being in business, especially in a business like property management that can be, just a series of solving problems. Can be quite rigorous at times, dealing with people. So on this scale, so yeah, that's what I'd suggest. I think the stakeholders thing we're doing right now is super exciting, as you know a lot about it.
Ridiculously exciting.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what's happened in a short period of time.
That's crazy how that's open. And I don't know if it's open forever, but I know it's open now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know the doors are closing on founding partners in the next couple of months. And yeah, the benefits for everyone involved is going to be enormous.
How long? Right now, we have a window where we know that P&E and M&A, they're interested in this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that interest will last, but
right.
I'm very excited to see people that I've known and loved for 20 years. I know you are too. To have a part of something like that grows.
Yeah.
That's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the biggest thing like this that's happened in the industry, to be honest. And to be part of that from the start is...
I'm thrilled.
Cool.
I feel very honored to have been, asked to have been a part of that. That's a real blessing in my life. Yeah. And the people that are involved are good people.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's obviously why, that's the core of why I felt inclined to be vested, because they're just fantastic people, incredibly smart, but also just great people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that you surround yourself with people that you'd like to become like. When you do that in your professional circle, it's really interesting how smart you notice how smart people are. And you're like, gosh, I didn't know they had that skill set.
Yeah.
You have a lot of friends that are really smart.
We do, I know. We're lucky, eh? So if anyone wants to know more about stakeholders, holler at me or Lynell.
There you go.
Yeah.
How would they reach you?
You can email me at christian@grandurgroup.world. Yeah, that's probably the best way.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure, sweetheart.
This episode of the Vacation Rental Show is brought to you by RevMax. To find out more about how RevMax can help grow your vacation rental business, visit getrevmax.com. Make sure to search for the Vacation Rental Show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.